Happy Tuesday. Thanks for joining me. Very nice to see you all. Okay, first question. Where is the sun? I mean, come on. We're in June, yeah? Flaming June. Anyway, no, we're not. We're in July. Oh my gosh, don't even know what month it is. The year is racing by, isn't it? July, even more reason. Come on, where are you hiding? Is it where you are? Have you got it? Not in London. Anyway, second question. Have you got pen and paper or pencil and paper? Because I have a feeling that you're going to need it. Because we're going to be doing a deep dive, one of my favourite days, when we go deep into the bioscience of a fascinating supplement. Have you heard of NAD? NAD plus. Well, I'm joined by one of our favourite guests, Elizabeth Bayliss. She's the managing director of a great British supplement company, nutrition brand called Gabriella Peacock. I recorded a podcast actually with Gabriella Peacock, the founder, not that long ago. I hope you took a listen. It was all about longevity. And as part of that, we did actually touch on NAD. And this is something that I've been researching because it has such major implications and impact on our cellular health, particularly as we age. So it's something that we tend to have naturally, but we lose it like so many things as we get older. But we can replace it, and it seems to be absolutely fundamental. There are some really interesting clinical studies coming out. It's one of those supplements that is backed by evidence, peer-reviewed, clinical, randomized controlled trials, lots of science on NAD. You can go and look it up. But don't do that just now because we're going to be talking about it from the expert. So before we get started, I'm just going to add Lainey in from my team. So Lainey is part of Earle Wellbeing. Hi Lainey, nice to see you. So Lainey is there really, if you've got any questions about the magazine, about subscriptions, about podcasts, about anything that you'll find on our website, then she can hop on and answer those. But now let us get our main guest. Here we go. We do, of course, have a very generous Liz Loves, if you're tempted after this. I think you might be. So that's gpnutrition.com, and that's 15%. Hello, Elizabeth.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very well. Do you know, I am so excited. I woke up this morning, I was looking at my diary, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, today's the day, because I've been doing so much research recently for a secret project for next year, which I can't talk about, but this is very relevant. So thank you for taking the time. This is what we're talking about.
Correct.
This is your NAD plus complex.
Correct.
And NAD, are you going to ask me to say exactly what it is? NAD, what does it stand for? Come on.
So it's the nicotinamide. I knew you were going to ask me this, and you're obviously a full-blown scientist, so you know the full science. I'm a product developer.
It's a long chemical name.
Correct.
Which we don't actually need to know because we refer to it as NAD. And
Correct.
any nutritionist, clinical researcher, if you say the initials NAD, they'll know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So this is a very interesting blend, which we'll talk about because it's got more than just NAD, actually. It's got green tea extract and rutin, which is super helpful for the skin. And it's got pepperine, vitamin C, niacin, zinc, and all those goodies in it. But the main hero is obviously the NAD. Do you want to give us a little kind of overview on what NAD is?
Yeah, and I try and break things, because obviously you and Gabby are very, very elite in terms of your science background. So I always try and make it as relevant as I can when we're doing these labels. How would I explain it to my mum? She's always my benchmark. God love her.
Yeah.
So, and I was talking to Gabby this morning thinking, first of all, excuse the most unflattering light in the world. I'm in the office today. So that's
don't
why.
Worry. Those overhead lights, they're a killer. Oh gosh, I'd rather do it in the dark.
I know. So my analogy this morning was when we think about energy within a cell, NAD doesn't give the energy to the cell. It enables the cell to function once it's received the energy. So my analogy is it's like the oil in the engine of the car. The energy comes from the fuel that you put into your vehicle, but the mechanics of the engine are supported by having the oil. Now, we all know if your oil runs out, kaput, it stops working. Yeah. Just the same as with the body. We do naturally have NAD in our cells anyway. It's an enzyme that helps the mitochondria do what it needs to do. But by using that analogy, that makes it really simple to think, okay, so if I know that every year of my life from, unfortunately, probably 30 onwards, maybe a bit shorter, as with a lot of things like collagen, our natural supply starts depleting. So this age-old question of do we need supplements or don't we? Supplements help the body to stay a bit like HRT and all those things. We are helping the body to maintain cellular health. And for me, that's the crux of NAD, and it's why we brought it out. Gabriella's book came out a few weeks ago of 2 weeks to living longer. That's the point. It's about cellular health to aid longevity.
It's about aging, and I think this is such an interesting conversation because we are all statistically living longer.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't that long ago when women, especially, our life expectancy was 60.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, having kind of hit that milestone, I'm thinking, wow, I'm no way am I ready to shuffle off.
Yeah.
And, you know, our forebears would have looked very different.
Yes.
Felt very different for how we are. But obviously our bodies, you know, evolutionarily haven't had time to catch up with that longevity.
No.
You know,
they're not designed
evolutionary
to.
changes, you know, happen over thousands of years. And here we are, bang, living much longer, you know, thanks to antibiotics and, you know, surgical procedures and all of that and greater knowledge. And yet our basic biochemistry is not supporting us. And so, you know, I agree with the argument that you can't supplement your way out of a bad diet. You know,
Agreed.
That's first and foremost. You know,
Yes.
Watch what's every mouthful. What, you know, what's on your fork is crucial. But there are some things like this, specific supplements. I mean, do we get NAD in food, or I mean, how would we normally get it?
It's normally within the cells, so you can absorb it in small ways through your diet, a bit like other things. You know, you can absorb vitamin C from an orange, you can absorb collagen from bone broth and things like that.
Are there foods rich in NAD? Or is it something that the body's making? It needs these precursors in order to make it?
It's an enzyme, so you can ingest it as an enzyme, but you do need these precursors to make it more efficiently. Okay. So you have got to supplement it once you start depleting your energies. Same with collagen. You know,
you can't just go and eat a whole load of oranges and get loads of NAD.
No. It's not. That's not going to give you the level that you need, certainly as we get older. And that feeds into that same conversation. It's not just our biochemistry that isn't due to live 100 years. You know, I always joke about wild swimming. I see swimming even up in Scotland through the year.
I ever see something. Did you have a look at my Instagram at the weekend? I was in the sea. I was North Norfolk, Holcombe Beach. Oh my gosh. It was just heaven. It really, really was. I'm so envious of anybody who's fortunate enough to live by the sea. I wish I lived by the sea.
Yeah,
I have a tiny pond in my garden, which, trust me, is not the same. And actually, it's got too flipping warm at the moment. You know, I have to have a cold shower if I want to get cold.
Yeah.
But the sea, there's something about it, isn't there?
Well, and the salt and the magnesium, it's the ultimate magnesium bath, you know, so it's great. But we all call it wild swimming and, you know, cold water immersion. It's like, well, only because we've now got hot water, but we didn't have that 50 years ago.
Used to bath in cold water. You're so right.
A swim was just a swim. We don't say, oh, it's an urban swim when we go to a swimming pool. Like, why would we say it's a wild swim when we go to the sea? Yeah. So it's that point that we are living more comfortably. We have heating, we have poorer soil health, all those. So even when you can absorb enzymes and things from natural sources, it's not the same playing field as it was 50 years ago when we were living to 60 and things like that. So you've got the facial creams we use, the makeups we wear, you know, you're amazing with all the products.
Different. And the food processing.
Everything's a toxin.
I did a really interesting podcast recently with Dr. Chris Van Tuliken, and his amazing book, which I was thrilled to see actually, is still charting top of the Sunday Times bestsellers. About unprocessed people and the dangers of ultra processed food. It's absolutely shocking. I recorded another podcast actually yesterday with an American researcher, you know, talking about obesity and the benefits of fasting and all of those things. I mean, there's so much good stuff. That's why I love my channel here, because we're talking about the good, positive things. Yes. Not actually giving stuff up, apart from all the kind of rubbish that comes out of packets, but it's more about putting the good things back in.
Absolutely. Elimination immediately creates a binge mentality because it's withdrawal. So you think, oh, I've had that taken away. Whereas if you add things in, actually you get to the point where, you know, you drown out the bad with the good. So, and of course we're finding out more and more, you know, I think NAD is only a relatively recently discovered phenomenon in the body. Yes.
So, but look it up, guys. Don't just take our word for it. Go and do a deep dive on PubMed or
Well, and also in the
open
UK,
access.
it's not as open. Like, we're starting to, we've been looking at this product obviously for months, doing our due diligence and those kinds of things. It's probably about a year ago we first started talking about this.
Is it widely available in other countries then?
America is much more, as ever, much more on the ball with
Okay.
NAD, and there's more of a consciousness around it, and it's more available. Just most things start there, and then we get them, because if the FDA has approved something, which is their agency, then our FSA is more likely to do the same, but we're slightly more stringent. And so there's a trickle effect around the world.
And NAD, I'm just seeing some questions here come up. It is a unique molecule. So, there are questions here. Do I still need to take ashwagandha? Am I taking my astaxanthin? They're different things, aren't they? They're doing a totally different job. If you want to take them, great. But this is not NAD, okay? NAD is its own unique individual
Absolutely
component.
Yeah. And funnily enough, I thought that question might come up of, is it more important than a multivitamin, for example? And again, it's very difficult to pitch one against the other. I think you do need the layering of these things. There's no one pill takes everything. We know that from, do you just wear one face cream? No,
Exactly.
you don't. You have two serums.
If you're on medication, I'll just take one thing to sort out, my arthritic knee or whatever it is. But actually, you might still need your heart pills, whatever. They are completely different.
Completely different.
So my short advice here, just to those who are questioning and talking about supplements and generally, try as much as you can to get your basic level of nutrition from your food.
Yes.
Cut
Always.
out the processed food. Cook from scratch if you can. Just simple stuff. Last night I had a bit of grilled chicken and some green veggies. Really, really simple.
Yeah.
Had a boiled egg this morning. It's not complicated. I'm getting good quality levels of protein and fats and vitamins and minerals and all of those things. Piece of fruit, all of that stuff. But then there are specific things that we are discovering. Ashwagandha we've talked about before, the adaptogenic herb. That's having a completely different function, and you may benefit from it and want to use it or not. But NAD, I guess its primary concern is cellular health as we age. So is it protective? Is it giving us energy? Is it supporting the immune system?
It can definitely do that. So it's anti-inflammatory, because when the cell's working properly, I'm very visual, that's why I raise my hands. When the cell's working properly and the mitochondria is being fed through the enzyme of NAD, the cell can work efficiently, which means you have reduced inflammation in the body, because nothing's screaming and saying, oh, I haven't got enough of this, I haven't. So, in terms of that as an antioxidant, it's the same as we would look at, and that's why we've got the green tea there, so that we've got the polyphenols from the green tea. It will help reduce your inflammation in the body, which we know both prevents and helps with disease, illness, immune system, etc., etc. Again, like an engine, my dad once did this, God bless him, did this really funny experiment of, he spent a month, tracking his fuel by using the ultra fuel and the normal fuel and checking his yield from that, and found that he got a much higher yield from the ultra fuel. And so that I love as an analogy of, like, if your engine in your car is running efficiently, if your body is running efficiently, then you will have more energy, because you're not using surplus energy on cell repair, because your cells are healthy. So that can help with everything from your immune system, weight management, because again, your body, there are lots of reasons we have cravings, but some of them is that your body needs a nutrient. So if your cells are working efficiently, your body isn't craving extra energy from other food sources and things. So you're not as reliant on sort of the brain using its survival mechanism. I need calories because I need to survive, because I need energy.
So you're going to feel less hungry potentially.
I think not less hungry, but less cravings, I would say, because your survival mechanism in the brain is, of course, incredibly wise, and it knows, my cells need more energy to do more functions because I've got more repair. Starve a feeder, feed a cold. When your body's got a cold, you need extra energy because your body's doing all those healing processes, so you will crave more food. Exactly the same in our daily life. When we're stressed, when we're not sleeping enough, when we're inflamed, your body, your brain is telling everything in your body, even if you're not hungry, have calories to survive.
So I guess
store for the winter.
It's a bit like comfort eating then. If we are feeling under the weather, depressed, low, whatever, we kind of tend to
100%. And The
Because
phrase
that's what our
comfort
body's
eating,
doing. It's
yeah,
not really our fault then. That's
no, it's absolutely not. And the phrase comfort eating literally comes from the body needing serotonin and dopamine to get that hit. You are comforting yourself. That's where it's from.
Yeah. Very good question
Yeah.
that I was actually going to come in onto here, which I've just seen pop up. MNN, NMN.
Yeah.
Where does that fit in with NAD? Because my understanding, I have NMN every morning.
Yeah.
And I benefit from it for energy, and we can talk about mitochondrial cell health and all of that. I take NMN because it's supporting NAD.
Yes.
Is that correct?
It is correct.
But you fast track. You've taken that step away. You've gone straight to the NAD.
Now, the benefit of that is it can be, and this is down to your DNA, because also the NAD helps protect your DNA. It keeps it rigid. It keeps it, strong in its structure. But because we've all got different DNA, we all process and absorb things in different ways. Mm-hmm. So some people, when we talk about bioavailability, that's the way that your body absorbs a nutrient. So some people have a different absorption of NAD to the next person. So if you're offering the precursor of the NMN, then that can be more supportive for some people, because that can help their body at different life stages, whereas other people will absorb the NAD and therefore they don't necessarily need. Now,
I guess what you're doing is are you kind of taking that guesswork out of it by just applying NAD?
Correct. Yes.
I mean, for me, taking NMN, I have to rely on my own kind of nutrigenomics in a way that my body is then going to convert it into NAD.
Correct.
And it might not. I mean, I'm feeling it does because I feel better for it.
Yeah.
But actually, you could take that guesswork away by going straight to NAD.
Correct. And I may not get the same benefits from it. So you might take it and think, oh, great, I may not. So that's when DNA testing is really important. And that comes down to lots of things. So we all absorb different B vitamins differently. And actually, you might require different B vitamins to myself. And so that's how you can get really down the line. But actually, we are creating products for everyone, and therefore we create something that we know we're going straight to source.
We'll go straight there. And I think, you can do lots of nutrigenomic testing as everybody here in my community knows. I'm a big fan of Life Code GX. I've done the nutrigenomic tests. I've given it to my kids. We found out some really interesting things. But ultimately, the acid test really is your own body. If you try something for a couple of months and you feel better for it, chances are it's because your body is utilizing it and doing it well. If you try it and actually think, well, I didn't really do very much, then you know that actually maybe your body's not got the correct pathways to process it. So for me, it's always worth trying. The first time I took glutathione and I woke up the next day feeling, wow, oh my goodness, where have you been all my life? That was revelatory for me. And I take it now every single night without fail, because I don't have the gene that makes it.
Oh, so you take it in the evening? I always do it first thing. Interesting.
Yes. Well, I tell you why, and this is probably, I don't know whether I should share this.
Don't worry, you don't have to.
No, I will anyway. Okay. I don't really drink now. I used to drink, especially during lockdown, like we all did quite a lot. And so I stopped last year completely after I went on an extreme fast, and I felt a lot better for it. I have actually now started to have the odd glass of wine, which is fine. But I did find that because glutathione is involved with processing alcohol through the liver, that actually if I took it at bedtime, I would wake up feeling brighter.
It's a sneaky
hack. But actually, so it was a bit of a sneaky hack, but I carried on taking it even when I wasn't having any alcohol at all, and still woke up feeling better for it. So it's kind of my habit. I mean, do you think it'd be better to take in the morning?
Well, no, now that you say, then actually the liver processes through the night anyway, so that probably is a good time to be taking it. I think I just got into the habit of, I like the first things in my system to be the things that are going to kind of really get straight in. And if I haven't eaten, obviously, because you're in that either a 16-8 window or your sleep window, then what can I put straight into the body? So
that's put this in first thing, because I'm thinking now, I'm going to try this rather than the NMN. I'm going to try NAD.
I do, because we've got
what about intermittent fasting? Because that's what I'm doing.
It won't impact your intermittent fast. That's fine. So that's not a problem. And it has got the green tea extract in it. And it's a really high 20-to-1 ratio one. So it's very strong. It's only 3 milligrams.
So why have you got the green tea in there as well? What's that going to do?
So because the polyphenols, because this is a longevity complex. So this is part of the longevity range. So we've also got the longevity complex and the resveratrol. So we created the range to say, if you are really going to target your longevity, what are the best things that we can put together? What can we take from the book that are Gabby's non-negotiables of this is what we need? So putting the polyphenols in with the NAD, they are a really strong antioxidant. So if you're supporting the cell health, then you need to make sure that your cells are healthy, which is what autophagy does for us, you know. So this natural life cycle of cells are meant to die, that's the whole point. And when they're not dying, and they're morphing, that's when we have illness, cancer, disease, etc. within the body. So that's why one of many reasons autophagy is really important, but it's the same reason that antioxidants are really important. So you can repair oxidative stress within the body and within the cell. So things like polyphenols are really important to have. And that's why we've put it in alongside this as well.
So it's a really good, you know, you're getting a lot of bang for your buck there.
Yes.
You've got, you know, parsley powder, presumably that's your antioxidants as well.
Yep.
Tell me about our alpha lipoic acid.
So our alpha lipoic acid is a really, there's more research coming out about that in terms of the benefits towards both immunity, but also, again, cellular health and longevity. And I know it sounds like this umbrella term, but because they're, I would say, emerging science, you know, we've got strong research on them, but they are emerging. It's not as well researched as something that's that long. We are learning that the impact that they can have. And again, it's about the combination of these things, because, and during, you know, COVID, the time that Charlotte, we mentioned, actually things like our alpha lipoic acid, you know, NAC, all those kinds of things, we started to realize the impact they can have on the body,
hugely helpful,
supporting the body's natural function. And that's what things like our alpha lipoic acid can help with.
Okay, interesting. And do we get that naturally from food, or is it something the body makes?
It's a really good question that I honestly don't know the answer to. Okay, so I need to look into that. But
okay, interesting. But you can get it from here anyway. So you've combined that all together. Yeah. So you've got your polyphenols, your catechins coming from the green tea. Yeah. The green tea is giving you a little bit of a lift.
Correct. But it's only 3 milligrams. So don't think, oh gosh, it's the equivalent of a cup of coffee. It's not at all. We can have 120 milligrams a day or something like that. So it's very small.
Yeah. Okay. And then you've got your vitamin C, your niacin, really important, and your zinc. Yeah. Quite a lot of niacin.
Yeah, because it can help the absorption. So that's the NAD, right? So that's
the form of NAD. Okay, exactly. So you've listed it as niacin on the pack. So you don't see NAD written, it's the niacin.
Correct, yes. Because again, as you were saying at the beginning, it's like I talk about a daffodil, I don't use the Latin name. You know, I talk about a rose, I don't use the Latin name. So I want anyone that picks this packet up to be like, oh, okay, that's what's in there.
Okay.
So with labelling, that's why we do it.
So that has to be on the label. Are all types of niacin then NAD?
No. So you can have the nicotinamide, the NAD, the two letters, and then you can have different forms of niacin, which we get from things like Marmite and things like that. You know, niacin comes in different forms as well. So it's not exclusively NAD.
Okay, so but this is very specifically this is the form that you're using in here.
Correct.
Oh my gosh, I mean, you know, labelling everything kind of needs to catch up. This is so cutting edge. But you know, again, it's kind of hard to get our heads around. I'm glad that these are always saved, by the way, these Instagram lives. Because I did warn you guys at the beginning. I said, listen, you're going to need a pencil and paper. This is why, okay? So you can go back and you can replay it. So the nicotinamide, which the niacin, which is vitamin B3, that is the actual bit here, but of course kind of food labeling hasn't really caught up with that, but that's what you're getting.
Our hands are completely tied in terms of what legally has to and has, which makes it very confusing for the consumer, and we know,
which is why it's nice to do this.
Frankly.
You can explain it. Can you overdose on it? Are there any contraindications? Who shouldn't take this?
You can overdose on anything. I would always say, you know, if you take too much, I always say, if you're on any heart medication, please always speak to your doctor anyway, because when you change inflammation within the body or cell health and things like that, you always have to be careful of any form of heart medicine, because it can impact blood flow, blood viscosity, etc.
Blood pressure. I mean, really, you may get a lowering of blood pressure, so you know you need to monitor it if you start to up your supplement regime and kind of treat the body more holistically.
Exactly.
It's like
which would be the same with omegas. You know, anything.
Absolutely, same with omegas. They help with, you know, blood thinning and all of that, and iodine.
Yes.
You're taking seaweed supplements. You know, we were talking to Dr. Seaweed not that long ago, and a lot of people can titrate their their thyroxine down,
yes.
because they've improved their iodine. You know, why doctors don't say at the beginning, I'm not going to prescribe you drugs, I'm going to get you to take
Give you
some
some kelp
iodine to start with. Just have
but
some
then
seaweed.
iodine's so fickle, you know. It's so fickle because I did it, and then I was taking my kelp and topping up my kelp, and then my hair started falling out because it's so, to get the balance of the thyroid is you've got to know what you're doing, so it's very difficult. But that's why within the range we've changed all of our packaging, as you'll probably notice, and we've changed how we name things to try and make it more helpful. So any products we do now that have more than one ingredient, we're calling them the complex, so people know.
Complex.
Yeah, this is an NAD complex because it has more than just that base ingredient, whereas the resveratrol, which we'll probably talk about another time, is a single ingredient. So that's why that's there. Love her. And then the longevity complex that sits alongside, again, that's a combination of ingredients to just try and help our customers.
Have you designed those to all be taken together?
Yes. Yeah, that's why these ones all have the blue label, because this is our kind of longevity range.
Okay, so all of those. So if someone's going on the website, you could actually take them all in. I mean, I have to say, I take resveratrol.
I love it.
Yeah, I think as an aging supplement, I mean, there's so much. Spermidine is another really interesting one. I mean, there's just so much out there. I feel actually really thankful that we're living in an age where if you can get your head around it, there's so many benefits. Everything, you know, my energy levels are high, I sleep well, my skin is looking better. I mean, just everything. We are aging at a different rate, and that is clinically proven, because we are changing our cells. We are literally making younger cells.
Yeah. And my mum, I will say her age. My mum's 78, but looks about 45. We were talking last week. She said, "Oh, you know, I'm just having I need to rest today." I said, "Mum, you're 78. Think about when my grandmother was 78. She was having a bed nap every day for 2 hours at lunchtime, in bed, full on, not just a snooze on the sofa." But because we're aging so differently, we expect to keep up with that. So it's, you know, it's keeping our bodies up with our minds and with expectations and what have you. So it's not just the inside. We know the outside is a manifestation of the inside. So absolutely, this will help with physical signs of aging as well.
And presumably good for guys as well. This is not just a female
absolutely
thing.
Anyone. It's an enzyme, it's not a hormone. So absolutely. And actually in the US, NAD is very prevalent with males.
Really? So any males out there that you may know and love and want to keep around for longer, pop them on some NAD, yeah?
Well, and actually I was talking to someone yesterday who was saying there's been such a boom post-COVID with males having tweaks and adjustments and Botox and fillers and things like that, because people became so much more aware of being face to face again. You know, we were all behind screens so long. So actually men are really starting to invest in these things, and losing hair, going grey, other things that happen with men that get old. If you're protecting your cell health, it's an insurance policy.
Yeah, love it. Great, very nice positive note to end on. I can see so many very specific questions, medical questions coming in. Where can people best contact you? Because I think those kind of things are best answered once.
Yes. So either come through our DMs on GP Nutrition Instagram, or you can email inquiries@gpnutrition.com, and then that will come through to our team. And any that are super specific always get put directly to myself or Gabby. So come. They're the best two ways.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Lovely to see you.
I'm going to have to go and re-listen to this, I think, just to make sure that I've got it. Super exciting time to be alive. Thank you for helping us all to live better for longer.
Pleasure. And
thank you for your discount.
Having a platform.
We love it.
Absolutely, anytime. Lovely. Brilliant.
Give my love to Gabby, won't you?
Will do. See you soon.
Nice to see you, honey. Bye. So interesting. So, okay, don't say I didn't warn you about the complicated bit, but actually kind of bottom line is we're talking about mitochondrial self-help. So that is the little cellular batteries in our cells that give us the energy and keep us going for longer. So what's not to love? So you will find them at gpnutrition.com. Don't forget, there is a code. Liz Loves gets you 15% off there. The whole range, that's the one that we were talking about in particular, NAD complex. A couple of other things just before I go. Lots of you have been messaging actually with questions about eye health, and this is something that we've talked about before with Professor Lim. Do you remember Moorfields? Isn't she amazing? I hope she's having a lovely summer. I hope you are, Dawn, if you're watching. That she created with, I think, 3 other ophthalmic surgeons, so like state-of-the-art stuff, the MTHK eye range. This is something that is brilliant for dry eyes. It's the MTHK spray, and you can just spritz it literally kind of around your eyes, and your eyes absorb it, and it's got hyaluronic acid. It's really super good for keeping eye health, again, as we age. She's very much talking about macular degeneration, and eyes, of course, being so precious, and very specific nutrients, some of the carotenoids, lutein, zeaxanthin, all of that kind of thing that you need. And of course, they developed eye vitamins. So, sorry, it's like a shiny packet there. But this has got the zeaxanthin, the maqui berry, which I think was from Chile. Was it from Chile or from Peru? Anyway, somewhere in South America. Really clinically proven to help with eye health and degeneration of eye tissue. So if your eyes, for all of you who've been messaging me about eyes, this I highly recommend. You can check out their website. It's mthk.com. They've given us 10% off everything. So the sprays, the eye capsules, if that's something that is of concern to you, that's where to go. Something else that we talked about, I think it was last week. Was it last week? I was in my kitchen down in the West Country, and I spoke to the lovely botanist. I think he was live in Germany, wasn't he? Talking about phytonectars. This is something that I am absolutely loving. I'm using it at the moment. I'm up against a deadline, quite a serious deadline. I'm having to work quite hard. My brain is quite overstressed. And so I'm using this. It's called I Am Focused. And it contains cacao. It contains lion's mane, which is one of those nootropic mushrooms I also give to my boys and anybody with neurodiversity, ADD, ADHD. It really helps with focus. And it's also got ashwagandha. It's also got blueberries and ginseng and zinc and maitake mushroom, and it tastes really, really nice. And I am using this at the moment and I love it. I don't know if any of you have tried the phytonectars yet. They've got ones for beauty, for sleep, for resilience. This is the one for focus if you're having to work that brain. And they've given us 20% off. So just a little reminder, because I am personally really enjoying them, and it's phytonectars.com. If you need to be calmed, don't forget to breathe. But also this little gadget, lots of you loving the Sensate. This is mine. And it is something that vibrates and plays you tunes, and it's just a lovely thing to have. Very good if you're traveling. Any nervous travelers, anybody got a fear of flying, you can use this on the plane. It's really good. It connects to your vagus nerve. Check them out. I haven't got time to tell you all about that, but if you go to getsensate.com, that's their website, and Liz Loves gets you 10% off as well. Before I go, I've got to give a quick shout out to this lovely thing. Have you got yours yet? I saw Rachel from my team this morning, my social media manager. Hers just arrived this morning, so I know they're popping through your letterboxes any day. This is the brand new edition of Earle Wellbeing. It's your summer read. This is the July-August issue, jam-packed with so much good stuff to help us feel good throughout the summer and, of course, far beyond. In fact, so much so that we've called it the Feel Good issue. So make sure you've got it. We have a special offer. We've got our own Liz Loves code. I thought, hey, come on, why not? We're giving Liz Loves on everybody else. Let's have our own. So Earle Wellbeing now has a Liz Loves. And if you use that, you get 3 issues for £10. I mean, that is a serious deal because they're normally about £7 each. So 3 issues for £10. It is limited though. It's just until the 16th of July. So if you'd like that, not the 3 the same, obviously. You can have 3 consecutive issues. Well, I guess you could have 3 if you wanted to, but yes, 3 consecutive issues. So it really gives you a chance to dive into my magazine and just see how much you love it. Hopefully you will. Anyway, you'll find all the details on lizarwellbeing.com as usual. I'll be back with you live on Thursday, and we're going to be talking about bone health. So this is going to be another really interesting nutritional deep dive. So again, you might need your pen and paper for that. Super looking forward to that. But in the meantime, thank you. Thank you for all your questions. Thank you for your lovely comments. Lovely to see you. Have a great rest of the day. Go find that sun. I'm going to be going out and seeing if I can find it. And I'll see you live on Thursday. Take care. Bye-bye.